Hello and welcome to Warblog, take 2 of the first battle of Idlib. I've moved the artillery down to there, from there, because that's sort of where it was, according to that map. I've added this unit, which is the Syrian National Council Syrian Liberation Army, the regular company, with 113, and this one here, which is the Ara Asham irregular company. To sort of counterbalance these two additional units, I've added some 45 regiment over here, so there's 3 of those. But other than that, it's the same, but this time I think I'm going to spend the first turn moving, so I might not do a lot of speaking, because I'm not very good at speaking and thinking at the same time, in a sort of broader sense. I mean, I know I can do it, but now what I'm trying to do here is to play the game maybe. So what I'm going to try and do is actually sort of do as much as I can in the 15 turns using the strategy that I know I'm going to use, and that's basically to create a fairly clean line and sweep across this way and block the exits. I'm not saying that's the best way to do it, but now I think I tried to say this, but I didn't complete it. The interesting thing about this is that you can put these units here and you sort of think, well, he could slide around here or slide around there. Well, to be quite honest, he can't really. He can't go into there because he'll be a hell of a lot more exposed, and it's pointless because then he'd lose this road. And so they are actually facing each other off, and you've got to remember there's a considerable distance here. This is not squad leader, and so you know this does sort of work because he doesn't want to give that ground up, but he can't attack. You know, I think that's what I was trying to say before. The small units, the FSA, cannot attack out. The odds are just too big. So they're pretty strong units, pretty tough units, defensive wise, because they do a lot of retreating. But you know, so we can actually do that. So I'm going to face this unit off here. Now it doesn't pin him down. Now in some games you might have sort of a it's kind of interesting. I'm sort of almost thinking about it, but basically, if you were to do that, it sort of pins them, and then they will spend the whole turn moving out of the zone of control. And that might be appealing because that would give some purpose in doing something like that. But I'd have to think about it. I'm not saying I will. So this unit's already pinned, so that means I can possibly move there. Now, just to sort of repeat, what I'm trying to do here is to be a little more strategic. That's interesting. Never had that before. A little more strategic, and I'm forming this line, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not very good at keeping my word. Okay, well, that's not too bad. A bit of drag here. So I'm not doing a lot of talking, but it's not so bad. Okay, I maybe didn't want to do that, but what I want to do is to create this line. I just want to play it a little more strategically, or with a little more thought, as opposed to just because something I tried to say in the last video as well. It always gets me when people just see the first attack and do it. you know, there's no reason why they would do that, because you know there might be sort of promenading and you know feeling each other out, so to speak, without that sound odd. I mean, this is one of the things that I don't do a lot of, and that's playing the games again and again, which is one of my main sort of interests, really. Because when you play it the first time, you sort of learn, and now I'm playing it the second time, and I think, well, although I did get a DE on that unit, it wasn't really what I wanted. I mean, and he did retreat there. You know, in theory, he could have retreated there or somewhere else, and what I want to do is create a nice proper club drive through from the east, from the west. So here we've seen that off, we've sort of got a line there. Now, another thing I didn't mention in the last video, this is the artillery obviously, but he's got a factor of 8. I've extended that because it's a sort of smaller scale or large scale, I don't know how to describe it. So he can fire 8, 1, 2, 3. So ordinarily he could only fire 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now he can fire 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I think, to be quite honest, I never really bother with the scales because I think it's an abstract concept, but literally the scales are well off in many instances. But when you're playing, you don't know. But I'm pretty sure that any grown-up piece of artillery would be able to fire not only that far, but probably well onto the sort of like you know the next browser. You know, miles. Some of these artillery units can fire like up to 30 miles. Big howitzer things or whatever. Maybe that's wrong. That seems from memory. It seems right. But I'm going to move you a little bit, and just as a very general little thingy bob, let me just go on to the end of that turn. Do I want to do this assault? I think I will. The problem I got is that all my armour is doing the shielding, and the things that are doing the hitting is all the blocking forces, the infantry. Let's just go for it. I've got some artillery there. I lost this one last time, so I was a bit cautious. It's twiddling around, connecting, not connecting. My computer is so old. I calculated, I got it in 2012. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. It's 5 years old now. Oh, I've got a dice roll of 11, but I still got the DR. Yeah, and again, it's sort of retreated in the wrong way. I'm going to sort of keep repeating things, just even if it's for my own sake. Connecting. Basically, I will be putting an algorithm, so when it was there, it calculates all the available retreat spaces, but then it would go through and say which ones of these are not in zones of control. It would not go there, it would not go there, it would not go there. So it would have gone there. That would have been the place for it to retreat. At the moment, it goes in a sort of clockwise direction, starting from there, I think. And so that's a stupid place to retreat. Causes me as much of a problem. I will be doing that, but you know, when the cows come home. Okay, so end that turn. What I was just going to say as an aside, twiddly thing, is that I went onto eBay a couple of days ago. And I thought, it's Christmas. I'll maybe give myself a Christmas present. Because we all know Santa Claus doesn't exist. We'll buy our own. And I felt compelled to, and I didn't know what I was looking for. Because to be quite honest, I look at eBay quite a lot for modern military boxes, and there's nothing. It's amazing. There's just absolutely nothing. I've seen a few on the Cutacanari which has been released, but apparently they're not particularly great. And they're expensive, full price. I'm not paying for that. But anyway, cut a long story short, I found this really amazing magazine. I couldn't believe it. I do like these little magazine sets. You're supposed to have, in the 80s, they used to have quite a lot of magazines for all sorts of things, including military. Things like War Machine, Elite, etc., etc. But there's one particular set of magazines called War in Peace. So if you're familiar with those sorts of magazines, it's sort of I got more than excited when I saw it, because it's all about warfare from 1945 to 1983, which is probably when they were released. So it covers all the modern military conflicts, and there's 120 magazines in 10 bound volumes, and they should be arriving possibly. They were in the post today, so maybe they can arrive tomorrow. Hopefully, do come out Saturday. But anyway, that's my Christmas present. And so what I'm hoping to do, because I like those magazines because they're incredibly light reading, but they're really informative, and it's just perfect. I mean, I wouldn't have got. There's loads of magazines out there like the history of war. Yeah, okay, well, but in with the history of war, you've got all the Byzantine, Napoleonics, everything. War Machine, I looked at that, and modern weapons this century, from the First World War onwards. None of them were really sort of good matches, but this one was absolutely perfect. And one person who was selling them said, this was 1945 to 1983. It's a shame it didn't continue. It really is. It made me think, and maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but there was another magazine called NAM. There's another one, Eyewitness NAM. I don't think Eyewitness NAM is as good, but NAM looks like a good one. If I could get that for like £10, I would. But these things are sort of very 1980s, and I'm just wondering, I'm not, I shouldn't say this, but what would do one of these magazines on the Syria Middle East conflict? In Syria, Middle East, in 120 volumes. Magazines, collect them each month or collect them weekly, and in your newsagent now. And I just don't think that sort of stuff cuts the mustard anymore. I don't think people are interested in magazines in the same way they used to be. But subjects like war, it's just not as kosher as it used to be. It's not as politically correct, I should say. Anyway, I just it's gone off on a tangent there, and the Syrian National Council turn. I don't know what they're going to do. He's stuck. Oh look, he's moved back. That makes it easy. Well, we'll let you get through there. I think we're going to reinforce over here. And block here. few seconds left. I'm not going to do another one of these, so there you go. If you think you can do better than me without talking as much rubbish, sign up and do your best. Cheers, mate.